My name is David J. Tsosie, and I'm a member of the Hinani Turichini clan. And my father's clan is Tsosie, the Big Water clan. And my maternal grandfather, they're a member of the Nat'o, the Netkachini. And then my paternal grandfather, they are the Towering House clan, Kia'ani. And I live over in Sanders, Arizona, Natatsi. My wife and I, we relocated over into this community about 5 years ago. So that's where we live. And my role as the principal investigator is to orchestrate activities related to the completion of the study, Hozhoogo in Silaa. And as the Net people, it was given to us to ensure a healthy relationship among the 4 clans that we are affiliated with. And there are teachings associated with Ke, which I will expound on later. And Ke was given to us as the Net to keep our bloodline pure, thus prohibiting marriage between clan members. And I believe it's one of the most beautiful things that we have as the Net. The title of our study is A Cultural, Spiritual, and Health Impact Assessment of Oil Drilling Operations in the Navajo Nation area of Consular, Torreon, and Encino chapter. And this is a 2-part study that began in 2018. Part 1 dealt with a review of the health impact assessment, the health of the community in Consular. And then part 2 is a study that looked at the cultural and the spiritual area. And that's where we came up with the use of Hozhoogo in Silaa. The Health Impact Assessment, HIA, local air pollution. We did a site monitoring of 8 areas or 8 sites. And over a 32 period, we found that there were PM of 2.5 that were present. And then also we did a VOC sampling over a 24-hour period following the national EHP protocol. Consular Chapter Health Survey. This is where we put together a survey, and we had about 80 participants who are residents of the Consular Chapter, and that's about 11% of the residents. 20 nationally ranked health symptoms. There were 1,600 responses. And there were high levels of symptoms reported as reflected in this chart here. And the purpose of our cultural study, we wanted to use the Net lens, which is based on our traditional teaching and ceremony. We wanted to examine the cultural and spiritual impact of oil and gas development in tri-chapter areas, and at the same time contribute a novel approach to study impacts of extractive industries in indigenous community, and understand and communicate these impacts back to the community and policymakers. And we also conducted a cultural survey, like I indicated. And this was both in English and the Net Bazaar. And we have people from the community and then also students from the Net College that helped us conduct the survey. And we had about 132 members of the tri-chapter community that participated in this survey. And there were a number of questions that we formulated, but we concentrated on 16 questions that focus on the cultural and spiritual effects of oil and gas development. And in looking at the complication that the community was faced with, we decided to use a model with the help of the Net-Centered Research and Evaluation. We talked about it and came up with this model. And this model is Hozhoogo go Iina Silaa. And on this, we have a picture of the 6 sacred mountains that surround our reservation. There's Silaa to the east and Tsosie to the south, and Tsosie to the west, and then the Bensa to the north. And then we have 2 other mountains, and each of these mountains are affiliated with certain areas of knowledge that we apply to our everyday life. In our case, to the east, Nahata to the south, Iina to the west, Sihasin to the north, and Ado Sotizen, Dosen with the 2 other mountains, Okoko. And we view this as a home, the home of the Navajo people. Okoko, we took the 16 questions and the 2,176 response. We divided that into these 6 areas to detect social concern. And we have here a chart. There's 3 columns. The first one is area of knowledge, and the middle column is survey response. And then the column to the right is percentage of respondents with strong agreement. The first one, in sa case, thinking, restore balance and decision making. In the middle column, we have our local leaders have spoken out against drilling, and no one at tribal, state, or federal levels, including BLM, listened. There were 74% response in agreement. The next one, despite communities objecting, the drilling continues. 81% of the participants agreed. People were misinformed when they agreed to permits. They thought it was for testing and not drilling. 79% of the people agreed. And then to the south, planning for meaningful consultation. The middle column, our efforts to pass on a healthy and prosperous environment to our children is being broken. 83% of the people agreed on it. And then the peace of the people have been disrupted as a result of drilling and fracking. And 85% of the people agreed on it. The oil companies, other to the west, in Lifeway, protecting well-being. The oil companies have no respect for land, people, and life. 86% of their respondents agreed on the and action by oil companies have divided families and communities. And 85% of the respondents agreed. Continuing on with Iina to the west, since oil companies made their presence here. All life is continually changing for the worse. 82% of the people agreed on the behavior of oil companies in getting a permit to drill shows their lack of concern for the community. Monies for oil companies have right to drill divided families. 82% of the people agreed. Although the top one, 83% of the people agreed. And then to the north, Sihasin, wisdom and sharing, assured environmental justice. The middle column, because the land is being ruined, it will not be able to sustain an economy. 83% of the people agreed on the and then the insensitivity of oil and fracking companies toward our community leads to mental and physical hardship. 80% of the people agreed. Oil companies know the community is in financial need and inappropriately entice landowners with money. Is 82% of the people agreed on the Although oil companies do not respect sovereignty or Navajo Nation laws, and 86% of the people who responded said, that's right. So the Zendosan prayers and psalm establish spiritual connection. And under that, the middle column, what I believe to be sacred is being destroyed by drilling. 85% of the people agreed on that's the case. Although rare herbs that can help with our health are disappearing since drilling started. 62% of the people agreed that that's the case. Our analysis of findings and major community concern, the community, they recognize a major disruption of CAP is occurring in tri-chapter area because of increased oil and gas development. The next one, a survey respondents show a high level of agreement regarding negative impacts of oil and gas development. Land ownership issues and community poverty are at the root of the problem. These problems have been ongoing for a long time, but the federal and state government have done little to improve the situation. Recommendation from KBHIS analysis. 1 is provide free, prior, and informed consent to residents. 2 is equalize state and federal revenue share with chapters. 3, establish road maintenance fund and safety measures. 4, ensure transparency and transfer of complete information and lease agreement with allotment owners. Continuing with the recommendation from KBHIS analysis, the next one, uphold and implement principle of environmental justice by appointing a neutral, unbiased person to assist families and communities, provide just transition funding for jobs in well closure, cleanup, and restoration, restore care in the community. Restoring care, so like I indicated, so the 6 sacred mountains, the area, the application of knowledge. This is our home, and we looked at how do we restore within a community that has been disrupted by the presence of oil drilling and fracking. Our fundamental law teaches us to respect and honor ourselves and relatives, our knowledge keepers and elders, those who need assistance, and to respect, honor, and preserve the environment. None other is the most important teaching that preserves our social structure. To strengthen its teachings, we share the traditional knowledge with the future generation and retain our relationship with our natural environment. And I believe this is where the community can get together and talk about how we can get back into the teachings and the application of K'e and all the teachings that's associated with that. And also to take this knowledge and share that with the new generation. And our people used to say that in time of need, always look to the holy people, the Great Spirit. Of course, that's where we feel that there needs to be a coming together of the people, no matter what denomination, of course, and prayer is always the answer. Of course, as a community, that's what needs to happen. Of course, we had a person by the name of Robert Tohi. So he was really an integral part of a lot of the things that we talk about. And this is what he said. Indigenous people see the earth as a living entity, our mother. Before we extract something from the earth, we always ask, why is it here? Was it put there for a reason? Is it meant to be used by humans? Or should it be left alone as part of nature? If we recognize the interconnectedness of all things, we will be fine. Of course, so that was one of the things that he told us at one time. Of course, for listening to me. Of course, we have copies of the study that we have done. If you need a copy, you can contact me at djt485@yahoo.com. Again, thank you.